All right, I'm live now. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. All righty. I hope all is well today, especially if you're catching the replay. That's what all the, introductions and all that good information is for. If you will be catching this on YouTube later, thank you for joining. I'm Shanquetta Cunningham of the CARES Group, where our mission is to support nonprofits and small businesses, helping improve impact, income, and influence through creative and strategic services, and also the vehicle of fundraising, which is primarily grant writing and donor support. So I am happy to be here and have this conversation. And actually, it's really more of this great connection of the dots. And for those that will be watching this and believe that they, of course, already know this and have their pulse on this, and this information is above you when it comes down to that, I want to share that a part of what has been missing in our society and community is the access to information as well. And so we are always at a place, that someone is always at a place at a teachable moment, or then you become the teacher and you share the information. So just remember, as you're watching this, and of course this will be shared on other platforms that I have, because sometimes people can look at information like, of course we knew that, but this is just for the people that may not know, or even too, we're always at teachable moments, but I really wanted to share, and just I wanted to share this because it was just really eye opening for me when I was sitting here listening to a mentor speak. So just gonna wait a few moments, and then I'm going to rock and roll with the information as well. And also, every time that this, like, I share these type of videos, I know that some person that's a nonprofit leader, that's a startup business, or may have been business for a number of years, but could utilize this information. Sharing is caring, so will you please share this information and share the video? Definitely would appreciate that as well. Okay, so let me just backtrack. You know that when you go to business mentors, you go to small business centers, and you go to these entrepreneurship, did I say it right? These flagships for entrepreneurs and these training centers, you do hear, starting a business, the top two things you hear that you need a business plan or some type of plan of action that carries the thoughts that you have about your business, and you put them in a formalized document that identifies who you are going to reach, how you are going to reach them, the other competitors in your market, it's going to take as far as financially for you to start this business, to expand your service line or product line, and how you are going to uh, keep up with your success and your margins and all of these things. What I also know is that some conversations need to be had, but then there is a conversation that another baseline to where to start from. I have had to learn so much while operating as a business and then figuring out that I really haven't been operating as a business compared to what you see when you go to more structured places, a brick and mortar, and you see these systems and you see these operations. Because most people in these centers, they share information as if you already know the foundation and baseline of the information. So again, first you're going to hear that you need to you're going to hear that you need to have a business plan. The next thing you are going to hear is that you need to solve a problem. Okay? You're like, okay, I need to solve a problem for others. But if we could be honest, when we start up our business, when we start our nonprofit, what we're really doing is recognizing that we have a gift, but we also are starting our businesses or this nonprofit to fulfill a dream first. And then we really start leading our businesses. Lord, help me say this as you're giving this to me. We are starting to lead our businesses and our nonprofits to fulfill our own ambitions, which is not to be excluded. But we recognize now in this space when we're talking about solving problems that in this simplified version that, because most people talk over your head with that, like you're starting your business to start a problem. Okay, it needs to go a little deeper because I had to figure that out. Like, what does that actually mean, solve problems? And then until I started working with my clients with nonprofits, like, okay, the bigger the problem, problems attract dollars. If you have an issue that is going on that is going to take you, and I'm talking like to nonprofit leaders, years to have a build out and a framework to first understanding that issue and then implementing systems and a structure and a program in place to address that issue, and it's going to take you years to do that, but people will become invested in that you've done your research enough to know that, say, hey, we've identified this mass problem. We want to ensure that kids in rural Arkansas right now, they're reading at a 33% reading level. And so we want to ensure that 80% of third grade readers are at satisfactory, reading level or above within 10 years. Do you know how many children there are, third graders, right? Do you know, and then having to get in schools and bypass systems and superintendents that close up schools to outside of supplemental learning. Trust me, I have clients that can't even get into schools to offer free services. But there's so many layers that go on to this, and then to recognize that these are the same children they identify. If they can't read, then they'll start building prisons for them because they figure, well, if they can't read, they're not going to get an education, they're not going to graduate, they're not going to get jobs, and so they're going to do these things and criminal things to survive, which will not land them in college. Statistically, it'll land them in jail. That's a big problem. But we don't think about that when we're starting our businesses and our nonprofits. We think of it from the standpoint like, I just want to help third graders because these precious babies need to read. And that's not identifying the problem. But when you paint it, as I've just said in the picture and the illustration that I just shared with you, it makes you sit back and think like, oh, that's a big problem. Let's think about Amazon, of solving a big problem to where you're at home, and we know that Amazon existed, but man, you're in your space, you can't leave, you can't go to the grocery store, and then this one guy and a small group of people say, hey, how do we scale and optimize our services that we can reach nearly 4 billion people in the earth? We'll just deliver everything right to the doorsteps of people since they can't go out, but we'll do it for them. They can be safe and they can be with their families, and we can help them get the groceries that they need, the medicines that they need, the school supplies that they need, and so that they can continue to function as much as they can enclosed, and we can solve that problem of the how do we get what we need. And $7 billion later, here we are. And so on today, I want to encourage you as a business owner, because I had to do this and I'm doing this for myself. And I even have a testimony of a call that happened for me. Literally, this is nothing but the grace of God. When I allowed myself to listen to what the problem that this organization had, and I coupled that with the value that I know that I would bring, unafraid to say, this is a problem that you have. This is a problem that you want me to solve for you in 1 week, literally 1 week. And it's major. But I had to reiterate what's on the other side if you do not get this problem solved. And we went through the checklist. I'll miss this grant deadline. I have people that's employed that their salary is contingent upon the possibility of getting this funding, that we need to ensure that we are making a presence. We are needing to get into the schools. If not, we have about 90 students that will fall outside of our services, and they are minority students who actually need the connection of this mental health component that we're bringing. So if we do not deliver, there will be a domino impact of all the negatives. And so I'm like, problem, emergency services, and opportunity. And so with that, stated the value. I didn't even have to, and I also put in an a contingency fee, because I'm like, I have to now move my whole schedule around this week to meet your need, in which I could do, because that's what I do best. I strategize, and I support, and I help, and I solve problems for nonprofits. That's my gift of creativity. And I actually thrive when people look at chaos. I look at like, oh, opportunity. That's how I look at things. That's how Amazon looked at things, right? I didn't even have to negotiate, or I just stated the fee for service, and bam, it was like, okay, send me the invoice and the contract. It's done. Because I identified the problem. I didn't even go through my own resume, or like, this is what I do to help nonprofits, or like the spiel I just gave you. I repeated, well, I said, let me repeat what you stated. This is a problem, but here's what I also see that's a domino impact for your nonprofit. Now, how I can help you is to solve this problem. And for me, again, it's taken me maybe a number of years to really understand what that meant, because no one actually broke it down for me. And so I'm really praying that if you're watching this, that it's giving you some context to where when you are going before potential clients and customers, it's not an interview. You are the expert. You come in doing your research, already having an idea of your target customer, because honestly, I know even when I talk to nonprofit organizations, I know about 4 to 5 key areas that you are going to struggle with. It doesn't matter how it appears and what's going on. I know those are just the symptoms of what I know is the root cause of something that's going on in your organization. I can identify it. I have like this 5S framework, and I'm like, okay, I know if it's going to be your systems or your sales or and so I know that I just make sure that I'm patient enough to hear you get it out of what you think is going on, and then I come with the solution. I haven't been as confident with that because I think, for a number of years, I thought that I would offend people by saying, oh, I mean, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking like, yeah, sounds like a wreck. But I didn't have the conversation enough, or maybe to finesse the conversation to say, I hear the problem. Yes, it's a lot. Yes, your board of directors is just chaotic. There's no systems in place. There is no structure in place. The recruitment isn't as adequate as you need for the leadership that you need to carry out the mission that will transform the population that you are serving. But here's how I come in to help you reframe and refocus to whether we coach and train your board, and or we thank them for their service and we start anew, solving problems so that your client on the other side can be like, okay, this business, this service provider, this product is going to take care of that. They're going to solve the problem. And when you do that, I've had conversations enough to where I've pitched it that well and I did not have to negotiate for a contract. But then I have bombed pitches and closing deals because I'm sitting up here and trying to interject my college education and trying to really show the pedigree. And it's okay to say, well, this is how many people that I've helped. But when you've explained it enough to where you can relate it to them that I solved their problem, or I can say I've supported 30 nonprofit organizations and I've solved their problems in these areas, and then connect the dots to what that potential client is going through, because you're solving problems with your own gift, with your product, with your service. But the conversation doesn't stop with you. And oftentimes when you're a nonprofit startup, when you're a business, it's all about the hustle. Like, I got to make money and trust. I'm not saying those conversations escape, right? And I'm not saying they're not supposed to motivate you. Of course, we're a business. We want to. That's what businesses are. We want a bottom line, and we want an uptick in our bottom line, right? We don't have business without the numbers. And so I get that. And I'm learning that. Let me say this. I am learning. What I'm sharing with you, I am still in this process of learning. But what I know, because I've attended way too many conferences, way too many webinars, is that the information sometimes is not presented enough to where you can actually take it and implement it or execute. So I'm hoping that today I'm sharing with you that identifying the customer's problem, you're making lotion or perfume. Yes, you have a science or a chemistry degree. You've always loved fragrances. You love the smell of, you love for women to smell good. You love for them to feel good. But you're solving a problem. How do you solve a problem? Because when the market is saturated with perfumes and sweet smelling scents, maybe you're solving a problem that says for the woman that sweats a lot, and knowing that perfumes, it could be Marc Jacobs perfume, but it's not compatible with her own body uniqueness. And so therefore you are creating fragrances and lines that will be compatible with women that sweat a lot, or for the athletic woman who doesn't like sweet smells. Again, and we know sweet smells, Bath and Body Works stuff doesn't really compare when you're working out and all that. Nope, it does not. You don't even have to have a problem. It just do not, that sweet pea and sweat, uh-uh. Sorry. For you collectors. Okay, I'm gonna get back focused. So, but think about though what I'm saying, like dig deep in that. So it's not just you're following your dream and your passion, but you also want to solve problems, or maybe the problem of affordability, to where people don't go and maybe have the money to spend $100 or $200 or plus. I've never went over like 150, so I don't know what that life is like when you all go buy all the other perfumes, if you're that connoisseur to that degree. Um, but you know, it could be that you want to mix luxury perfume and scents and make it affordable for the everyday woman. That's solving a problem more so that I'm following my passion, my dreams. That's for you. That's for the next conversation that you'll have on a panel that inspires other entrepreneurs to keep going. And that's needed because you don't exclude your passion. Passion and service can go together. But when we're talking to clients and trying to attract dollars and wanting to secure contracts or increase our sales, we need to pitch our services and our businesses in ways that speaks to the customer's satisfaction. Again, when we say the customer is always right, I'm telling you all, it just took me forever to connect it. And what they're really saying is not that the customer is always right, because we know that customers can be mean at times. It's saying, though, that I am going to rise above the basic level of an attitude or aggression, because the optimal level of what I want to do is solve your problem enough to where your emotions are, they're spontaneous and they're not long lasting. So after you come down and give it 24 hours, if I've done what I needed to do, if I've solved your problem, if I've solved your problem and maybe even spoke to your emotional outburst, what will happen is that you will return, because again, I've solved your problem. You know, I hope that if that's making sense, y'all let me know. But I wanted to just jump on and share that with you, that problems do attract dollars. Solving those problems attract dollars. And yesterday, I just trusted what I could do, what God said I know that God's called me to do. I presented that, and it finally just started making sense of what my mentors and people have been saying. Solve the problem, evolve the conversation to where you are interjecting how you can solve the problem, but they know that in the end they hear them. They actually can visualize themselves on the other side of success. So if you're struggling in your business, if you're struggling with your nonprofit, I'm going to encourage you, because again, I am doing this. I am doing this, and I'm sharing information with you that I am learning. But oftentimes people share information, and you probably hear information from people that you feel like, okay, they are at this level, I really can't obtain this. So I'm being real with you that I'm right here with you, sis. I'm right here with you. Or men, if you're watching, I'm right here with you. Not speaking above you, but speaking with you. Is that if we shift our conversations to where we present it to her, this product solves your eczema in this capacity. This product, you know, helps with, you know, your, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something. I can't think of anything right now. But you all get the drift. But when we present it to where on the other side of that, and it's more so you refraining from, I started this business, I am doing this, I have the skill set. You know what you need to do. That's why you start the business. Rest in it. Because if we're in our calls, if we're trying to convince people of who we are, then I can assure you we've not done enough research on who we're speaking with. If you're a service-based business and people want to book consultations with me, I'm already looking you up. Plus, I know my target audience, but I'm already doing my homework on you and will have a fresh conversation with you as if, I'm just ready to hear you talk about the great work that you do, and then get to how you have impediments to actually, helping the homeless, and how you have impediments to working with teachers and all these great things that you want to do, but you can't do because you don't have the finances, or you don't have the structure, or you feel like you don't have the support. And then I come in to represent your problems to you in a solution format. And I do that well for you. And then I'm honest enough to say, okay, this strategy may not have been as effective as we thought, so let's regroup. I'm not perfect, but I do strive in progression, not perfection. And whoever your client base is and that target is, it's the same thing. You've all ordered something and it didn't come out right, but it's how that vendor handled it to where you recognize, okay, I'll give them another chance. Because we're not going to be perfect. Or you may send, you may have a shoe line and may send some shoes and the strap is already off. Nothing is perfect. If something, messes up with Nike, then things are going to happen with your products, or things are going to happen with your service. But it's how we handle them. Again, going back to solving the problems for the people that pay us to solve problems. That's what entrepreneurship is. We're paid to solve problems, to make people's lives better and easier. Again, think Amazon. So I'm encouraging you today to just kind of reframe. If you feel like you're in this struggle phase, breathe through it, shake it off. I promise you I get it. I promise. I promise you I get it. Shake it off. Reframe. And say, the next time I talk to a customer, the next time I make a post, how am I going to address to them that I can solve their problem, that my product can solve their problem. You make candles, you have a sweet scent, a non-overbearing scent, you and maybe have a longer wax life, whatever that is. Luxury candle, affordable prices. How do you solve that problem? So, speaking of solving problems, as I come to a close in under my 30 minutes, I have some options for you as well. I get it all the time that as a nonprofit leader or a startup, one of the biggest struggles people think is always come to finances, in which we know that money do solve problems. It's one component of the success of your nonprofit. So I've been doing a free summer funding series for nonprofit leaders to come and join, where I'm offering free content to nonprofit leaders in the areas of funding. It's called Summer Funding. Y'all get it? Wordplay. Okay, Summer Funding. We launched in June, and so I've already had 2 workshops there. In July, let me get my dates, and also, okay, it's already shared in the comments. Thank you. If you want to join, if you are a nonprofit leader, community leader, public servant, volunteer, staff, friend of a nonprofit organization and you want to come and learn, this month we're going to be focusing on sponsorships, earn the income, and improving our donor base. We will be talking about that in Jonesboro on July 14th, and then in Little Rock on July 18th. You can go there. The link has been posted in the chat to where you can register for free. The only thing that's required of you is your time and an open mind. My mission is to help nonprofits be more profitable by interjecting business principles into your operations, because nonprofits are just a business with a heart. You have to have some form of system and structure. It's not one of those things where you build it, they'll come. And that depends too on your goal for your nonprofit, which is very important to understand. There are some nonprofits who want to have and run every day 9 to 4, 9 to 5. And there are some profits that are mission focused, want to have programs instead of, that continual everyday operations. So once you know that difference, you'll be able to assess the funding streams that you need to support it. Again, I'll solve your problem, and you don't have to pay me hourly to talk about that. You register for the workshop. It will be, I think, at 6. Check the website. It's on there. I forgot the time. All right.